Welcome to Total Money Management, going over the week that was August 22 to 29.
The late edition.
Take two.
Take two, the late edition.
Yeah, well, this is the 100th episode.
Yeah, again.
And we missed the day.
So
How good are we?
So for those wondering where the hell we were yesterday, the files corrupted.
Yep.
Didn't know that was a thing.
We didn't forget.
Technology.
So we're back in, and we're going to repeat ourselves, like we have done for the last 99 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing undifferent.
China, Musk, Trump, tacos,
Yep.
Doritos.
What do we say?
Done.
Wait for the end.
Yeah, always wait.
You've got to watch right through to the end.
So what's
Don't
on?
fast forward through the next 27 minutes.
Yeah, do that, and then it'll increase the algorithm views and show us
you
more
go.
people. Anyway, what's on this week, Tom?
What have we got?
Well, firstly, celebrating a bit of a milestone, right?
Yes.
We made it to 100, and you guys are still listening to us, so greatly appreciated.
We'll get
Thank
a letter.
you.
We'll get a letter from the king soon.
Dude, we're close.
I'm not sure about that, but you know,
I don't think so.
you never know. You never know.
For those who are listening, you would have seen by now that we've had our crypto special, which we've had mixed feedback on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have.
Bit of controversy.
Yeah, we've had someone
bit.
saying it's absolutely not relevant, and I appreciate that. And then 5 minutes later, someone saying, this is great.
Oh,
amazing."
really? Oh, well.
That's
par,
all right.
Par for the course, eh?
I get it.
Did they say why that's not relevant, though?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's kind of, we've been pretty adamant on, we're not a crypto podcast.
Well, yeah, but doesn't hurt to have a. I mean, we talk about property,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say we're a property podcast. Anyway,
Yeah, that's all right.
hey, it's a
Everyone's-
free country.
It
Yep.
is.
Everyone's
You
got an
want.
opinion. They're all welcome to them. And
March for the
It's
podcast.
appreciated. 100%. Oh, no.
Oh God! See,
That timing.
as soon as I say anything remotely un-PC, Tom starts freaking out.
Yeah. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
what we're covering off today,
Righto, what do we got?
more bubble talk.
Yep,
We're going to go through some developed and emerging markets.
yep,
Should we worry about US house prices?
yes,
Trump goes after the Federal Reserve.
indeed he does.
And then we got a lesson of the week.
There you go. Thanks for chumming, folks.
And look, those who have subscribed, we've even got a slide in there now. We've redone the format for the week that was.
we have
We're proud of it. Hope you like it.
more innovation.
It's innovative. It's more engaging, we've heard.
Yeah, I accidentally pressed subscribe to everyone as well, so I apologise for the people that got automatically
Yeah,
subscribed.
people have
to
been
it.
trying to stop hearing from us. That have been
That
forced
is
to hear
my
from us.
fault, so you can blame me.
Once you're in, you're in. Anyway, bubble talk. The party's still going. Everybody's loving it. Chinese equities are taking off. Gold's at all-time high. US stocks, Cape's 39.
Silver as well. I see silver.
Yep,
broke
silver's
through
starting
40.
to take off, mate. Biddy's now what? Well, at this it's
110.
about 100 and...
About 110 this
I
morning.
thought it was about 108.
No, it had a good day today.
Oh,
110, yeah.
Right, okay. So, everything's just like absolutely humming along.
It's still obnoxiously high,
Yes,
Yes.
and I must say we're having a special coming up soon, a 3-part special where we're going to talk about the past, how we got here, the present, and now where we are now and where we think we're going. But we'll keep those for another few weeks and record those, and then you can have a listen, folks. But for the time being, everybody is just partying hard. Even China's now booming. Some emerging markets are doing well.
I saw today that China now produce, and the numbers could be totally off, 400 ships in a year versus the US's one ship.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 400.
The US makes one.
The ratio is like hundreds to one.
Yeah, the US got out of shipbuilding. This is why Donald Trump is so vehement against all those countries, right? Because what Trump is saying was, all you guys ganged up on us, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast, where the Trump is really hitting up all those international bodies as well, the United Nations and all that stuff. And the reason why is because those international organisations were sort of peddling the China line, right, which was anti-American. And that's why Trump said, right, we're going to get rid of all foreign aid, because what he was sort of highlighting was, well, hang on, we're paying these other countries money to basically shitbag us and, try and put us down. So we're not doing that anymore. So you can see the US has really tapped into South Korea because they're big shipbuilders, and the Japanese, right? They're the two big advanced shipbuilding countries. So
Well, you can see why people are getting worried. I think they've got the biggest navy in the world now, China.
no, well, yes and no. They've got ships, but the US is the only one that's got the super carriers.
Right.
Right. So the problem with China is if America can sail anywhere in the world, right, because they've got those nuclear powered ships, which can stay at sea for months on end, right? So they don't have to refuel.
Probably years.
So they can travel anywhere throughout the oceans. The Chinese haven't got those ships, and so the problem with China is it can sort of sail 800 mile and then go, oops, okay, we've run out of fuel, whereas the US can't do that. So in other words, in war, you can interrupt China a lot easier than you can the United States.
Right. Okay.
Right. But that's where the rare earths come into play.
Come in. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if I said it last week. Apologies if I did, but you've got to really have a look at the extent of how bad the US economy and industry has been hollowed out. I can tell you, it is an absolute disaster. And when you look at the infrastructure, which is roads, bridges, electrical infrastructure, all of that needs basically to be rebuilt. So, when you look at that, you go, man, they are going to have to spend, if they want to get back to being the preeminent world power, then they are going to have to spend mega amounts of money. Right, because it's no good having an army if the roads are no good, right? So you've got to have the roads, right? And the roads have got to be strong enough to take tanks or, this sort of stuff.
Well, they seem to be certainly moving that way.
Well, they are now, Jacob, but, this has only been going on since Trump.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And that's why there was complaints about Obama, because Obama did nothing and just let it all run down, right? And successive presidents have. That's why Trump is saying, right, we're going to tariff everybody, because it's not about saying, oh, we'll just get our ships from South Korea, because the South Koreans could turn on the Americans and the Americans go, oh, Jesus, we should have really built the ships ourselves. That's why Trump is saying TSMC's got to come to America, right? We want the technology and the knowledge here. We want the rare earths here. We want the AI here. Because we're sick of we relied on the rest of the world. Now they've got us over a barrel.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why and that's going to lead to a different type of economic growth going forward, right? Which we're going to talk about in the specials. But just broadly, as I said, the more I read on the US economy, the more I look at it and go, holy dooly, they're going to need like trillions, and I'm not kidding, trillions spent to do all the stuff they want to do.
Well, it's a good job they got a few money printers then, hey?
Yeah. But it's just interesting,
Absolutely.
So,
well, the first article that we've shared in the week that was, the Fed's starting to worry about the housing market now.
Yes. The US housing market is really unaffordable, but it started to the people I'm listening to are saying that there's a lot more sellers than buyers now.
Yeah.
And so the prices are starting to struggle, and that the part of the problem is, well, it's not the problem, but you've got to remember in COVID, a lot of people got 2% fixed rate loans in the US, right, for 30 years. There's no way you're going to move out of that house.
No.
Right, because now you've got to pay 6.5. So it's much better to say, well, I'm just going to sit here and pay 2. Right, so that impacts the housing market.
So in America, 19 of the 50 largest metro areas now have median house prices below 22 levels.
Yeah, it's now. I think I heard it's now cheaper to build a. It's now cheaper to build a house than it is to rent a house. It's cheaper to buy a house, and then what's happening is people are buying existing properties rather than new properties.
Sorry. So it's cheaper to buy a house than build a house.
No, sorry. It's cheaper to build a house than it is to rent, right?
Oh, right.
That doesn't make sense.
In the US.
Long term.
In the US, long term.
Yeah.
Right? So if you build a house, what you're doing is saying, well, look, it's so cheap, you're paying $600 a week rent over there. Look, you're better off paying $400 on a mortgage here.
Yeah, understood.
Right, over the term of the loan.
Yeah.
From a income to mortgage ratio, like we've discussed on the podcast before, like, Australia is close to 14.
Yep.
Last time we addressed it.
Like in Sydney, yeah.
What's the US?
US is very modest. It's actually about 6.
And they're saying that it's crazy overvalued.
Well, yes, but the prices are now starting to come down. Right?
At 6.
That's why I keep looking at us and going 14 times income.
Well, they're not like in America, they're not loaning like they are here either. The banks won't loan 14 times, like $1 million, $1.2 million mortgage on their median wage. So they learned from the GFC a little bit, I guess.
Well, a lot of people just reduce their debt. The consumer debt in America is actually not too bad, right? Household debt. In Australia, it's enormous.
Yeah, last we discussed, I think it was double
180. Yeah, 180. So 180% of GDP, which means, but a majority of that is in mortgages, right? And people are speculating on property.
Yeah.
Now, Albo's come out this week and said, 5% deposit. And of course, what's happened? Now prices are, they're all talking up prices again.
Yeah, they're up, I think, 0.7% this month or something already.
But I don't think... look, I could be wrong, and I probably am, but I don't see how the 5% deposit, makes it any better if the income that you've got can't sustain the loan. Like the average Sydney average Sydney apartment's about 850, right? So if you get a 5% deposit, let's round it up and say 50, right? Okay, so it's 50,000. Okay, so you've got to borrow 800. Then you've got to have a bit of stamp duty and throw on another, let's say, 25 grand, right? You want to buy furniture and shit, right? So now you've got to get a loan for 825. That amounts to, I think, what did we say? It was about 30 grand a year or something. Then when you look at it as part of as a proportion of the median income, it's like 50%. Right, so again, you look at it and go, okay, you got the deposit. Yeah, but the problem is I can't pay $4,000 a month to pay off the loan.
Yeah, I mean, the long-standing argument, especially around people my age, and not necessarily who I hang around with, but is that people can afford the loans, but they can't afford to save because the rents are so high. They can't afford to save a deposit.
Yeah, yes and no. The problem is that the prices are too expensive. So let's say you had 200,000, right? Well, if you need a 20% deposit, right, that's $1 million on the house is $1 million, you got 200, cool.
Yeah, well,
right?
you got 50 grand in stamp
if the
duty.
standard Sydney house, the average Sydney house now is about 1.6. So 200, you need 320. Well, if it takes you 10 years to save 200, you still got another, and by the time you get to 320, they go, the property's $2 million. You now need 400.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. People can't afford to save the deposit because they're paying $800 a week in rent or whatever they're paying.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if the house price collapsed to $1 million, then your 200, you go, oh, actually, we can buy a property.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we're both right.
Yeah.
You're right. The deposit's hard to save.
That's rare.
Hey, there you go.
He's conceded.
But it's so expensive. Right, rent's expensive, properties are expensive, interest rates have gone up, and that's why it's becoming a problem. Hence why Albo's gone, hey, we'll throw in a 5%. But I look at it and go, well, that's great. That's not going to help many people who say, well, great, Albo, now I'm up for $4,000 a month.
The loan repayments are astronomical.
14 times income.
Mate, if it was only $4,000 a month, Jake would buy 20 of them.
21st.
Only if they're in Montville, Mullany, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, and there's
US stock valuations hit all-time highs as of Friday. They've crept down a little bit as of today.
39.
Still up there.
Today they're 38.8. So, crash coming.
Mate, it's something.
It's just, oh, God, it's nutty. It's nutty. But anyway, we
love it.
Make fun while make hay while the sun shines. And now they're talking about our stock market being in a bit of a bubble.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it. No, we didn't. We tried to speak about it in the last recording.
That's right.
But
well, if you look at the US, we look cheap still. But if you look at median,
Well, the long-term average Cape's about 17. Ours is depending who you look at, between 20 and even 23. Well, 23's up there.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty well up there, especially when you go, well, economic growth's not exactly knocking it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
So,
but it feels like we've got plenty of room to move.
We're not
at the
30,
US, you know?
We're not
we're not 30. Yeah, they're going strong.
If they maintain, well, that's the thing we always speak about. If the US has a bad few years, then it's likely that we might react alongside the US. At least
if the US sneezes, we're going to catch a cold.
Yeah. But and I think a few people have said or asked me about, well, what does that mean if, because we talk about Brazil and Korea and stuff. The countries that have a low CAPE generally fall, but fall less because they're already cheap. Yeah. So the US might collapse, let's say 40 or 50%, right, in 2 years. Brazil might go down 15, right, because it's already on a really small CAPE, which means it's generally undervalued, it's underloved, so people are not piling into Brazil anyway.
I mean, you want those capes to fall lower anyway. If
it
goes from
absolutely.
A cape of 8 to a cape of 2, then you're laughing.
Well, that's where the money will run out of the US, and it will then go, now where do we go? And most likely they'll go emerging markets.
Easy money.
Right, and they'll head that way.
Not advice.
Not advice. Well, I mean, emerging markets are still something that we're quite interested in.
There's lots of opportunity there.
They're still really, cheaply valued. And China's just taken off. And I see today, what did it say? Chinese margin lending's going up. So they're all back into the market.
They must have been listening to the podcast
Obviously,
6 to 12 months ago when you were saying China's cheap.
There you go.
Yeah.
Global.
Another Steve global. Told you so.
Didn't we have one in Dubai? Someone in Dubai listened, or Norway or somewhere?
We're in 101 countries, Stephen.
Jeez.
Don't know how they.
Are there that
or one country and a lot of people running VPNs.
Probably.
That's possible
Thanks, Tom.
as well. I'm just,
He's always so cheery.
Hey, I'm contrarian. You've taught me.
There you go.
There you go.
That's right.
It's not pessimism.
Righto. So we go for the lesson of the week.
Yeah, unless there's anything else you want to talk about on the Aussie economy.
We ticked over 9,000 points, index points.
Yes,
it's
we
pulled
have.
back a smidge.
A bit.
A little bit. But it's still...
Well won is making me rather happy at the moment.
Yes.
Off the back of that.
Yes,
but,
that's true.
Let's keep it going. Bring on 15,000 index points,
Everybody, there's just nothing like when you get a good stretch, is there, when you make money?
It's been a very good stretch as well.
I know, but do you know what I mean? You just tend to go, this is really fun. This is really great. So that's why you get sucked into bubbles, right?
Yeah, it's way funner than losing.
Absolutely. But that's what I mean. You're thinking, oh man, I just want this to go on forever, right? And ultimately it doesn't. So anyhow, other than that, the Australian economy is just sort of teetering along. It's not, it's not going that well. But
mate, we got the Olympics coming.
Yeah, that's true. Good point, Tom. Yep. We got the Olympics. We'll cash out on that for the next 6 or 7 years. And here we are, episode 5,000, and we've got the Olympics.
And then the Olympics goes. And
property is now $4 million in Brisbane.
Yes. All right. What are you teaching us this week?
Well, the lesson of the week, which is the chart, which I didn't add, but I remember it. Remember last week we talked about where you start and where you finish.
Yes.
Right? And I had a little rant about the guy in the Vanguard 30-year buy and hold chart, right?
Yeah.
Start with 10 grand, turned into 134. Woohoo, great. Now, one of the arguments is, well, it's not one of the arguments, it's my argument, is a lot of it depends on where you start out, right? So he said 1995 to 2025. Okay, that's cool. I got no problem with that. But he says, well, you get the average return of I think it was 8% or something, right? And was 8%, look at that, that's great, right? But the point when you're investing is you have to say, okay, what did you make over every 30-year rolling period, right? So if I started in 1900 and went to 1930, what did I make? Oh, I made 3. Oh, okay. Well, if I started in 1901 to 1931, what did I make? Oh, you made 3.2. Okay. So you get the point. You can't just take one 30-year period and say that represents every 30-year period.
Well, you map that against the valuation of the general market.
Yes.
And you get periods like 1929 where you make nothing.
Yes, exactly. So from 1920 to 1929, the stock market in the US went absolutely gangbusters, right? From 1929 to 1939, bit of a different story, right? So what I'm pointing out is you've got to look at the range of returns. And when you look at it over 20 and 30 years, the volatility does decline, right? So over 30 years, it might be between, say, the high average is 10 or say 12, and the lowest 30-year return ended up being 6. Okay, so you look at it and say, okay, I can get somewhere between 6 and 12, right?
It's a big difference, though, isn't it, between 6 and 12?
Well, it is over 30 years, right? And that's the point. When you look at it and say, well, why does it fluctuate? It's pretty simple. The CAPE ratio is really cheap and then it's really expensive. So when you look at decade returns, right, you can see it there really starkly, right? Because the 80s was good, the 90s were good, 2000 was terrible. This is in the US, right? 2010, 2020 absolutely killed it, right? Why? Because the CAPE was high and low at different points. And so that's what I'm trying to drive home to people by saying, don't believe this one-off, 95 to 2025. Okay, did you start investing in 1995? No. Okay, well, that's not relevant to you, right? Unless the CAPE is exactly the same and, the economic conditions are the same.
And then you get the other argument, which is, well, I'm just going to put in $1,000 a month every month for 10 years and I'll catch the down and I'll catch the up.
Yeah, but that's also dumb idea anyway.
Yeah, well, my argument is if you're going to do that, you may as well wait and invest more when it's low.
Yeah.
If you already envision that is going to happen and you believe that, then you may as well save it all and invest it at the bottom, invest it towards the bottom.
That's exactly right. If you know about valuation and you understand how compounding works as a factor of not of time, but of the rate of compounding, then that's when, as you say, Jacob, you say, well, listen, hang on, I'm just going to put my $200 a month in a savings account, but I'm going to wait till the CAPE ratio gets really cheap, or, I'm going to invest in energy now because it's paying 8.
Yeah.
Right, or something like that. Whereas the idea of dollar cost averaging, if you really sit down and think about it, makes absolutely no sense at all. Right? Because what it's doing is saying, well, we know markets get cheap and we know they get expensive, but just keep buying.
Well, it works fine in a bull market when the dips turn into rallies.
Yeah.
But again, like if you don't have that principle in the bear markets, you're not dollar cost averaging. You're just investing when capes are either expensive or cheap.
See, the thing is, a lot of people say, and I was talking to someone about this afternoon. Your mate Sam, actually, your old buddy Sam,
Sam King.
Yes, I was saying to him, what you find is that people don't get the way that it works. And once you understand market cycles, what happens is the market falls 20%, right? So people say, oh, man, if you step out of the market or you rebalance, people will say, oh, dude, you're missing out on all these returns, right? But what I keep arguing is if you don't know about market cycles, you're not going to get out at the top, right? Because you're not going to be going, oh, man, I know what I'm doing. Because if you don't know market cycles, you don't know what you're doing, right? And then when the market starts rolling over, the finance industry comes out again and then says, oh, it's a great time to buy, and the same old story, right? Oh, you can't pick when the market's going to fall. That's why you're dollar cost average. Well, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You look at a chart of market cycles, but you do, right? You're like, I just look at the market cycles and go, man, that is so goddamn obvious.
Yeah.
And you look at CAPE. And that's why I'm saying now, you look at it and go, 39, oh, please tell me how we're going to get 8%. If you project it out, it's ridiculous. The figures are so silly that the likelihood of it happening is so remote.
Well,
right?
The US has been above a CAPE of 20 since 2010.
Yeah. But you can read... No, that's not
according to this.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're right. Yes. In 2011, I think the CAPE was about 12, and that was because the earnings had collapsed in the GFC, right? If you have a look at the other indicators, such as the Q ratio, it's quite cheap or on a book value basis, right? So, and as I said to Sam this afternoon, what you do is you're rebalancing on the way up. Because your portfolio is growing, you're still making money, right? But when you get that FOMO, which is what people have got now, what you find is people are saying, oh, yeah, but I could be making more money, right? And I get that. But the problem is you're not looking at over the whole cycle.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem, because what we assume is Jacob picks the top on, March the 9th, 2000 and gets out and saves himself, an 82% decline in the NASDAQ. It's like, no, Jacob doesn't know about market cycles. So he's just going to watch it go down, listen to the finance bros going, oh, dude, this is the price you got to pay, and just keep putting your $1,000 a month in.
Silly
well,
Jacob.
what do you end up with? The average return.
Yeah.
Right? And it shows that you end up actually with below average returns. Right? Because you're still putting your dollar cost averaging in when the Cape's at 40. Well, if it falls to 17, that's your dollar's going to be worth about 40 cents.
And I mean, as we know, it rarely falls to the average either. It
goes through
straight through the floor.
Yeah. That's why I'm so pessimistic about the US market.
Well, median Cape, according to multiple.com, 16.
The median? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're at 39.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a long, long way to fall.
Or and at market extremes, the advice would be rebalance more regularly.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
They're not advice.
The non-advice, but
That's the principle.
The principle.
and that's why
Dan,
we bring
can
it.
you
That's
work your magic.
That's why you can bring in technical analysis now, because you can say, look, I'll stay fully invested. Bit crazy, but you can say I'll stay fully invested. But if it hits the 200-day, that's it.
I'm out.
I'm out, right? Or I'm gonna cut back 70%.
Yeah.
Because that we know the bad stuff happens below the 200-day moving average.
Yep.
Right. So again, it's just that stuff where, as it gets more and more crazy, you've got to rebalance more and more, because, Cape of 39 goes back to a Cape of 19. That's that's 50%. Right. So that's 60%. So that means your portfolio is going to look pretty ugly. Right. And it might take 10 years, but it's, you're not going to do well, put it that way.
I think it was for me, whenever we started working together, what was it? Probably 6 or 7 years ago. So now it was the asset allocation piece that's when the penny dropped, when you kind of merged asset allocation and valuation. I was like, I've got it.
Yeah.
I'm fine now. You know those two things, and you can be way more savvy.
Yep. Once the light goes on, where you get those aha moments where you go, oh, okay, now I get it. Right. That's when it sort of it resonates in you, in the sense that you don't have to convince yourself of what Steve said. Right. I'm still not sure about that. Once you do your own research and you look at it and go, well, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, well, that's true. And as I said, when we talk to people about that stuff, it's sort of like, oh, yeah, well, that all makes sense. And it's like, yes, it does, because we're not, I'm not making shit up like, oh, the market cycles. Have you got a chart? No. I just think, that's, you look at a chart, the facts are on the chart. You're just looking at it and go, man, it goes up and then it goes down a lot. Oh, then it goes up a lot again. Then it goes down a lot again. Then it goes up a lot. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to pick a bit of a pattern. Right?
Yeah.
So, that I think is really important. The hardest part is when the Cape's 39, like we were just saying before, oh, man, we're having so much fun in World 1. That's when you got to be careful, right? Right? When you're tempted to go, I'm just going to ride this puppy out. It's like, don't do that.
Stick to the rules.
Right?
And I think you go more into that in the recent blog post on timing the market with the 3 wells as well. So if you're interested, guys, just go to the blog. You can read it all there.
Steve writes a blog every week, and not many people look at it.
Yeah.
And they really should. Some of his best work there.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Well, we never really talk about it.
Well, we have to talk. That's why we wanted. That's why we wanted you to wait till the end.
Here we go.
Right. So, the secret. Read the blog.
Secret sauce.
Please jump on the website, subscribe to The Week That Was, or the blog if you want. if you enjoy the podcast,
Even
then
if you
I
don't
think
want.
that, yeah.
You're going to do it.
Just
We'll
please,
force you to.
just please do it.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll force you.
Well, Steve, come on.
So funny. Yeah. All right. Well, let's leave it there.
Yep.
Also, leave a review and see you next week.
Cheers,
Thank
folks.
you.
Congratulations to Steve, Tom, and Jacob on 100 episodes. And for the 100th time, we don't provide financial advice. You'd think I'd have that by now.
I've done 99 episodes and I've ended it with a cheers every time, but on the 100th I said thank you.
Oh, did you? Oh, I say
Thank you.
same thing. Cheers, folks.